At the latest BRICS summit held in Johannesburg in South Africa, the following countries were invited to join the current 6-member bloc: Iran, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Argentina and Ethiopia.
We have decided to invite the Argentine Republic, the Arab Republic of Egypt, the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, the Islamic Republic of Iran, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates to become full members of BRICS. The membership will take effect from the 1st of January 2024.
This is good news for the current members of the BRICS countries, who include Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, because the prospect of enlarging their strong trade bloc means that they can become a very significant force on the world stage. Whether that's for the benefit of everyone else, the US and EU, remains to be seen. Intriguingly, the prospect of Saudi Arabia joining the BRICS group has recently come to the fore. This prospective addition has the potential to reshape Saudi Arabia's landscape of oil trading partners. Within the BRICS consortium, India and China stand as major consumers of Saudi oil, promising a diversification that may reduce Saudi Arabia's historical reliance on the United States and the greenback. This diversification could wield significant influence over the dollar's status. The creation of a BRICS currency, if it materializes, could pose a formidable challenge to the dollar's supremacy. Nations in this scenario may opt to transact in this newly minted currency for international trade, thereby diminishing their reliance on the dollar. Such a seismic shift over time could precipitate the gradual devaluation of the dollar alongside a commensurate decrease in its influence in the global financial hierarchy. In the annals of global geopolitics and commerce, the relationship between Saudi Arabia and the United States bears the weight of history, a narrative that finds its roots in the 1930s. It was during this era that the Arabian American Oil Company, or Aramco, emerged, a testament to the collaborative endeavors of American and Saudi interests. Saudi Arabia, in time, emerged as a substantial oil supplier to the United States, setting the stage for one of the most enduring economic alliances of the modern era. At the core of this enduring partnership lies the Petrodollar System, a cornerstone that cements the US dollar as the world's primary reserve currency, a vast tapestry of nations far and wide stockpile dollars as the lifeblood that lubricates the wheels of global oil trade. This system, inextricably linked with Saudi oil, has profound implications for the global financial landscape. In more recent times, the geopolitical compass has been reconfigured, hinting at Saudi Arabia and Iran's newfound interest in BRICS. This intriguing development portends potential realignments in Middle East alliances and energy dynamics. If Saudi Arabia accepts the invitation, the world's largest crude oil exporter will find itself in the same economic bloc as the world's biggest oil importer, China. It'll also mean that Russia and Saudi Arabia, both members of OPEC+, a group of major oil producers, will join each other in a new economic bloc. Although Saudi Arabia and China were already cooperating in various fields including energy and manufacturing, and both were prominent players on the global stage, it is important to get some insight into the potential implications if these two nations were to strengthen their cooperation further in the context of BRICS, which in itself is a prominent group of emerging economies. From the perspective of the United States, the implications of Saudi Arabia's potential pivot towards BRICS are manifold. Historically, the US has leaned on Saudi Arabia for a stable supply of oil and geopolitical support in the tumultuous Middle East. A Saudi Arabian foray into BRICS could necessitate a comprehensive re-evaluation of US foreign policy in the region. To safeguard its interests, the United States may find itself compelled to strengthen its ties with alternative oil-producing nations.
Is Saudi Arabia's relationship with China undermining U.S. influence? Days after hosting U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, the kingdom hosted the largest Chinese Arab business gathering in Riyadh.
Testament to these evolving dynamics is Saudi Aramco's strategic entry into agreements aimed at constructing a refinery in China. This complex is poised to receive a substantial 210,000 barrels per day of crude from Aramco, with full operational capacity anticipated by 2026. Ownership of this venture is divided, with Aramco holding 30%, Norinco Group claiming 51%, and Panjin Xinjiang Industrial Group securing a 19% stake. Moreover, Saudi Aramco has inked agreements for a joint venture in China with Norinco Group and Panjin Xinjiang. This joint endeavor encompasses the development of a $10 billion fully integrated refining and petrochemical complex in Panjin, located in China's Liaoning province. This ambitious project illustrates how Saudi Aramco envision its role as a catalyst for China's economic growth and development, with plans to establish a fuel retail business and a three-party marketing joint venture in target markets. Here are some of the other ways that the two nations are cooperating. Saudi Arabia is one of the world's largest oil producers, and China is one of the largest consumers of oil and energy resources. Increased collaboration between the two nations in the energy sector could lead to more stable energy prices, as well as a secure supply of oil and natural gas for China. Joint ventures and investments in energy infrastructure projects could further strengthen the energy ties between the two countries. This may include investments in Saudi oil fields, refineries, and pipelines.
We don't have to compete with China, we have to collaborate with China, so as also collaborating with everybody else.
China is known as the world's factory due to its massive manufacturing capabilities, while Saudi Arabia has been trying to diversify its economy beyond oil by investing in sectors like petrochemicals and manufacturing. Closer collaboration could lead to Saudi Arabia gaining access to Chinese expertise in manufacturing and technology. Together, they could become a formidable manufacturing and export force, potentially competing with established manufacturing giants like the United States and Germany. Increased collaboration could result in greater trade and investment between the two countries. China could invest in Saudi infrastructure projects, while Saudi Arabia could provide China with valuable access to the Middle East and North African markets. A strong Saudi-China economic partnership could also facilitate the Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI, China's ambitious infrastructure development and trade network project, by connecting it with Saudi Arabia's strategic location and investments in infrastructure. Closer ties between Saudi Arabia and China could have geopolitical implications. It could lead to a shift in Saudi Arabia's traditional alliance with the United States towards a more balanced foreign policy. This could affect the dynamics of the Middle East and the broader global geopolitical landscape. While there are potential benefits to such cooperation, there may also be challenges. Differing political systems, cultural factors, and economic interests could pose hurdles to a seamless partnership. Environmental concerns and global pressure to reduce reliance on fossil fuels may also impact the long-term viability of such a collaboration, especially if it centers heavily on energy production. It's important to note that these outcomes are speculative, and the actual impact of Saudi Arabia and China joining forces within BRICS or through other bilateral arrangements would depend on numerous factors, including their willingness to cooperate, geopolitical considerations, and global economic conditions. The West's response to the new BRICS format is likely to be complex and multifaceted. On the one hand, the West will be concerned about the potential for BRICS to become a more cohesive and influential counterweight to the Western-led international order. On the other hand, the West will also recognize that the BRICS countries are still very diverse, with different interests and priorities. Here are some of the specific ways in which the West may respond. Increased engagement with BRICS countries. The West may seek to deepen its engagement with BRICS countries on a bilateral and multilateral basis in order to better understand their perspectives and build trust. This could involve increasing diplomatic exchanges, trade, and investment. The West may also seek to collaborate with BRICS countries on issues of common interest, such as climate change and global health. Continued support for multilateral institutions. The West may reaffirm its support for multilateral institutions such as the United Nations and the World Trade Organization, which it sees as essential for global stability and prosperity. The West may also seek to strengthen these institutions and make them more representative of the global community. Efforts to promote democracy and human rights. The West may continue to promote democracy and human rights in BRICS countries through both public and private channels. This could involve supporting civil society organizations, providing training for journalists and activists, and raising awareness of human rights abuses. Increased military spending. The West may increase its military spending in response to the perceived threat from BRICS. This could involve developing new weapon systems, increasing troop levels, and expanding military exercises. In addition to these actions, the West may also respond to the new BRICS format by seeking to divide and conquer. The West may try to exploit these divisions within BRICS to weaken the group's influence. This could involve cultivating closer ties with individual BRICS countries or offering them incentives to distance themselves from the group. Imposing sanctions. The West may impose sanctions on BRICS countries if they engage in behavior that is seen as a threat to Western interests. This could include sanctions on trade, investment, or travel. The West may launch a propaganda campaign to discredit BRICS and undermine its credibility. This could involve spreading negative stories about BRICS countries in the Western media or supporting dissident groups. The West's response to the new BRICS format will also depend on the group's own behavior. BRICS can emerge as a more cohesive and influential force. The West will be more likely to take it seriously. However, if BRICS remains divided and ineffective, the West is less likely to pay attention to it. It's important to note, though, that the West is not monolithic, and there will be a range of views on how to respond to the new BRICS format. Some countries, such as the United States, may take a more confrontational approach, while others, such as Germany, may favor a more cooperative approach. Ultimately, the West's response to the new BRICS format will have a significant impact on the future of the global order. If the West can manage the rise of BRICS effectively, it could lead to a more multipolar and inclusive world. However, if the West mishandles the situation, this could lead to a new era of geopolitical rivalry and conflict. So as the landscape of energy geopolitics continues its inexorable evolution, strategic adaptability becomes the watchword for all parties ensnared in this complex web of interests and aspirations. Thanks for joining us at the Global Insight and watching this video. If you've liked it, please let us know by liking and sharing it with your community. For more great videos on our channel, follow the Global Insight. Just click subscribe. Thanks again, and until next time, stay tuned.